On deck, we've got Mike Ratterman, Ian Havens, Bailey Cogan, Levick Rosado.
What's up, folks? So this video is, just to give a little context to this video, this is the Mustad MatchPlay. So this was at the Edgewood WCB, which is the Roadrunner Classic of 2025. And the way the MatchPlay works is it's basically an eagle eye class. And in the eagle eye, you get 10 seconds to look at a foot, and then you have a short amount of time to build the shoe to fit that foot. And the way MatchPlay works is it's a bracket style double elimination format. So you're going head to head against somebody. Originally, this class was 3/8 by 1. Everybody had to use 3/8 by 1, and you had to draw it out to make it fit a pattern. And it had gotten down, I'd won a few rounds, so as you go on through the bracket, the time gets shorter. So I think it started out at 10 minutes or something like that. And then it got down to 7 minutes. And in this round, I had Chris Madrid striking for me. So you get a striker, which was nice for this round of MatchPlay. And we had to make, it was a front foot. And I think it was like 11.5 inches or something, which I cut for this one in particular. And then it goes to, once the time is done, then it goes on and gets judged. And you'll see in this video, Sawyer Spradling was the judge. And he judges it on which one is the better shoe and then fits the best. So he'll go through the process, he'll check nails, make sure that all is good, and then he'll put them on the pattern or the foot and check to make sure, see who's fits the best. And if you win, you move on to the next bracket. If you lose, you'll go down to the loser's bracket. And if you win in the loser's bracket, you can still go on. But if you lose in the loser bracket, you're out for the whole competition. So this is just a little glimpse of some rounds of MatchPlay, and then at the end of this video, it is the MatchPlay Finals, which is Troy Wood against Stan Mullen. So all these rounds started out 3/8 by 1, and then in the finals, Craig and the crew, they'll pick some random shoe, to try to make it a little bit more difficult. And in this instance, it was a mule shoe with a welded on toe bar, jump welded toe bar, to fit a tiny little mule foot. So hope you guys enjoy this video. Let's get into the action.
And then on deck we got Sean Zimmerman and Juan Gabriel Ramirez. You guys can look at the foot.
All right, so let's talk about what's going on here. So we started out by Chris and we ran out the section because 3/8 by 1 as a whole would be too wide for this foot. So we just ran it out with the sledge and together and then flattened it out. And after that, I started to proceed by just making a horseshoe. So you turn the toe, revisit the heel, then I was cleaning up the section a little bit, and then I turned the branch. And right there, I was just starting to do some hemming. And then Chris is going to come in with some calipers, and we're going to scribe to where we want the fuller end to start. And then I'm going to have him do a mark, and we're just going to run a pass down. So you can kind of do it two ways. You can either do a light pass, or you can just start fuller in. With MatchPlay, time is of the essence. So just start hitting it and get it fuller down in there deep. And then after we get done fuller in the branch, I'm going to grab a punch. Then we're going to punch 6 nails into it. So kind of the system that I had implemented, I was just going to fuller, punch it, and then have Chris flatten out the backside, and then move on to the other branch. You'll see that the time, it seems a little bit shorter in the video just because it didn't include the time of the shoe heating up. So essentially before the clock, when the clock starts, and I'm pulling it out from my first heat, you're about a minute and a half down. So you're at 5.5 minutes to then get the horseshoe made. Now we're going to run up the medial branch together, and then we're going to flatten it out together. And then I'm going to start by putting on my heel, clean up the branch just a little bit because the sledgehammer does take big bites out of it. So you just clean it up a little bit with your hammer, and then start putting on a heel. Nice and round heel, make it so it can fit easy. And then start by turning the branch. I'm going to open it up just a little bit at the toe, start by putting in the quarter, it looks like it's not going to come around very good, but if you have a good understanding of the horn, you can do your hemming, shaping together at the same time and bring it around. So I'm just cleaning up the branch in a hole as well, since it ran out really fast and not pretty. I'm using the horn to clean up my section. Now I'm putting on some hemming. Chris is going to come in with the calipers, and then I'm going to put a mark here for where it starts, and then start at the heel and fuller back towards the hard stop of the fuller end. Basically going to repeat that process again. And that's kind of the beauty about MatchPlay, is if you didn't have a system in place, this will help you create a system, because you're going to be doing it back to back over and over, so long as you're winning and moving on. But that's a big thing about MatchPlay, is you have to have a good system in place to be efficient. And then as the rounds go on and the time gets shorter, you're just enhancing your system over and over and basically trying to do it faster and faster. Now we're going to go in for a heat, and then you have to get a toe clip on it. So I'm going to use my ball peen, my Flatland Forge ball peen cone hammer. I'm going to start by driving out a source, get a source for the clip, and then I'm going to grab my regular 2-pound hammer and just use the heel of my hammer and draw it out. So I'm using the edge of the hammer to fuller it out or peen it out, whatever you want to say, and I'm going to forge it back into the web. So at this time, I haven't pritchled out my nails. I'm fullered and I'm punched. Got a minute and a half, minute and 45 seconds left. That's plenty enough time to get some shape into it. Check my measurements, make sure the shoe is at the right width, and then you're looking at the heel, the width of the heels as well. Once the time stops, you're not allowed to put a ruler on your shoe and check. It's not fair to other people. So now I'm gonna go through, I'm gonna repunch my nails. That's a big element that any judge wants to see with the MatchPlay, is that all the nails drop in there. So I'm going to have Chris hold on to it. This was kind of where I was messing up. So Chris would tell me, pritchel out your toenails first. And I would just kind of blank, and I would start at the heel nails. So that's something, as we got into more rounds, I was able to get that figured out, where he would grab it. You can pritchel out the toenails first and then do the heel nails after that. So now that I've got them pritchled out, I'm going to get it flattened, and then I'm going to grab my back punch and just resize up the nails to make sure that they fall and then they drop. So here's my back punch. It's just a really slim, skinny pritchel. It doesn't actually do any pritcheling out. It's just a sizer, essentially. So I just have it so it'll slide in the nails and just kind of open up the nail holes. Oh, fumble fingers there. Drop the tongs, drop the shoe. So here I'm checking my measurements to make sure that it's spot on. I know my shape is pretty close. It's just a matter of getting it to hit the measurement and hit the marks. So we got 15 seconds coming down. Check it for flat. Get it ready to go. And then it's going to go off to the end of the class.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's quit working.
All right, so here's the process of Sawyer Spradling judging the shoes from a MatchPlay round. This is actually not from the round that you just saw me make the shoe for. This is a previous round that I think I was actually in this one, so I was over here filming, watching it get judged. So that's the bracket, and that's how the MatchPlay works, and that's who you go against. And you'll see Sawyer, he's dropping nails in to make sure all the nail holes are going to drop. So he does that with both shoes. It can actually knock you out if you don't have a nail hole punched or pritchled all the way out. It can be an automatic loss, and then the guy that has all the nail holes pritchled out and nails drop, he'll win. So now he's checking to make sure, see whose fits the best. He's going to start with the one, lay it on there, lay the other one on there. It's deceiving. These feet are hard because they're not necessarily trimmed, and he's just looking to see which one covers the best and which one fits the best. Pretty doesn't always necessarily win. So just like that, I'm guessing that one there just had a little bit less steel, and that's why it won. Now let's get into the MatchPlay Finals. This is where Stan Mullen was going up against Troy Wood. Just like before, the rules stay the same. You get a 10-second look at the foot, and then you have to go on and then cut your steel. So Stan looked at his foot, now Troy's going in to look at his. You're allowed to use a ruler, put your ruler up on there, and check to see the width and the length and the width between the heels. And for this instance, they had to make a mule shoe with a jump welded on toe bar.
4, 3,
let's get into it.
1,
Game on.
Stand.
So you can see they both got their toes turned on their shoes, and then they turned up steel for a heel caulk. And then they start out by forging down that heel caulk and make it into travel. With the mule shoe, it doesn't have a lot of quarter bend into it, so you don't got to put a lot of travel into it, basically kicking it off one way, so that way when it comes around the quarters, it has clear clean out in between the commissures. Now Stan is starting off by punching some nails into his shoe. Those are the novice competitors in the back. They're competing in the match play as well, and they do a keg shoe to fit a foot with the toe clip on it. Now Troy's turning the quarter bend into his. You're also allowed to have a striker in this class. Stan had Daniel Russo striking for him, and Daniel is a member of the WCB team. There's Stan putting on the heel caulk on one of his branches. And then Troy had striking for him Tyson Clark. And Tyson's actually going to be the judge for the next WCB competition in Virginia. So Stan getting the heel caulk forged down, and then Troy's coming in to put on his second heel caulk. Something I thought was pretty cool about this MatchPlay Finals is, so the Spruce Meadows World Championships is coming up here in September, and that's what decides who's going to be the 2025 World Champion blacksmith. And on the shoe list is a mule shoe with a jump welded on toe bar. So they're both competing up at Spruce Meadows, and they've made this mule shoe a number of times practicing, so they both know how to make the shoe. So now it's just going to be a matter on who can make the best mule shoe that fits the best, and that's kind of something I thought was pretty cool. So Stan, he has his shoe basically made at this point. All the nails are punched, and in comparison, Troy would necessarily just be behind Stan at this point because he doesn't have all his nail holes punched. He just has the one side punch. So Tyson's going to come in, caliper where that toenail's going to go, and then he's going to have Tyson with the sledgehammer punch these nails. Stan went with the choice of putting in 4 nails, and Troy went in with the choice of putting in 6 nails. I don't think that's going to be a deciding factor, but with the size of this foot, it's a tiny little mule foot. 4 nails and 6 nails is not going to make that big of a difference on deciding on which one's going to be better. So now Stan's got his toe bar cut and measured. Gonna get some flux on it and get ready to have it jump weld. So you put some flux on the shoe and on the bar, and then you get them into the fire so they're at the same level and that they come up to the same temp together. So in order for a jump weld to be efficient, they have to be the same temp. So here Troy's marking out, that's how you get the length for the toe bar, is you just lay it on the toe a little bit, use your hot cut, just cut a little line, and you cut almost all the way through it, so that way when it gets welded on, you can just break it off. So he's checking to make sure that he's not cutting through it all the way. This right here is slicker and cow slobber. Stan's coming in for his toe bar jump welded heat, and you can see when it's at the right temperature, it wants to actually just grab on and weld itself dang near. So once you get it on there straight, then you start by just tapping it and get it stuck on there. He's going to have Daniel Russo pin it with the sledgehammer, so that way when he's twisting on that bar and get it broke off, that the shoe doesn't bend or the toe bar doesn't want to pop off. Here comes Troy for his weld. He's coming out. He sees that they're not the same temperature, so he goes right back in to bring them back up. They're not going to be successful if they're not the same temperature to weld. So there's Troy. Now he's going to get it lined up so that way it's on there square and straight and not racked. Just tap it on there, get it welded. He has a sledgehammer pin it so that way he can twist it and break it off. And the next thing that Troy's going to come out and do, he's just going to brush it off just a little bit, and then he's going to come in with a hot cut and come right to the edges of that toe bar so that way it can weld onto the side of the shoe and be fully welded on and not have any chance of slipping off. So he's coming to the horn. He has Tyson with the sledgehammer, and they're just going to cut into the corners of that. And when you're doing that, you want to make sure your tongs are grabbing onto the shoe and the toe bar at the same time. So Stan's going through, and now he's going to pritch out his nails. He's got it basically in the bag at this point. That shoe's done. So it's just a matter of getting it prettied up and fit up to where the measurements say it should be. Now Troy's going to take the heat and get that toe bar finished welded up. Start by hitting it on the top or relieve some sole pressure from the foot side. And he's going to use the edge of his hammer and weld in those little tabs that he just cut off with the hot cut previously. He's going to have Tyson brush it, clean it up. You use your pritchel to get right on the edges and the corners of that toe bar because that's where the slag and the flux is going to build up. quick little hot rasp by Stan. Make it pretty like all the time in the world. It's crazy. This MatchPlay Finals started out at 12 minutes to get 2 caulks made to fit a foot, a tiny little mule foot, and then jump weld a tow bar on. And then they have the time to be able to hot rasp and put on a little boxing there at the end. A lot of hustle, a lot of grit and determination. And how Stan's going to check to see. He's got those lines on his ruler there, so you can, after the time is done of looking at your foot, you can use your ruler and put on marks there for the width
10,
and the heel
9,
width as well.
8,
quick little brush,
7, 6,
bada bing, bada boom.
5,
Time is
4,
about up.
3,
Sawyer Spradlin's going to come in,
1,
get him judged,
time's
and
up,
determine
time's
who's
up.
the
Let's
winner.
give him a big round of applause for the job. Look. It's a rematch. Cameron's dug through. Right on through.
You can see here, this is the process of Sawyer judging these shoes to see which one fits the best. He's going to lay them on there. He started out by checking the nails, make sure all the nails drop. Now he's going to lay them on there and just see which one fits the best and who's going to be the match play winner. So Stan Mullen, he had won the previous 2 match plays in Fort Worth and Amarillo, so he's actually trying for a 3-peat to try to win it for a 3rd time in a row.
Stan is the winner. He won outright with no rematch. So Stan is done.
There you have it, folks. That's match play summed up. So you start off by doing those individual rounds where the time is pretty short, and then you get all the way to the end to where the match play finals. And in this instance, it was Troy Wood against Stan Mullen. And big congratulations to Stan Mullen on his 3rd victory in a row for the match play. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you want to see some more, there's more on my YouTube channel. And don't forget, hit that like button and subscribe if you want to help support, me and my YouTube ventures and just support the trade in itself. See ya.